Not sure how many of you are into cooking, but I love cooking steak. It's like the ultimate luxury meal for me whenever I want to treat myself. One day, I bought this beautiful Scotch fillet from the butcher, and I'd been watching all these videos on how to get a better crust. So I cranked that barbecue hotter than I'd ever gone before and absolutely nailed it. The best crust I'd ever cooked. The problem was, I'd completely stuffed up the timing. The steak was completely overcooked. I had one of the best cuts of meat money could buy. I'd done almost everything right, but because the timing was off, the whole meal went from something incredible to something kind of average. And oddly enough, I think love works exactly the same way. You can have two amazing people who are incredibly compatible on paper, but if the timing isn't right, it just doesn't matter. The relationship never gets the chance to become what it could have been. And today I want to talk about an idea that I think doesn't get enough attention in kind of the realm of dating. And that's that timing trumps love. Every time I open up social media, there's another headline about the loneliness epidemic, people dating less, marriage rates falling, birth rates dropping, whatever it is. And there's a million reasons why dating has become harder. Maybe expectations are unrealistic. Maybe social skills have declined. Maybe dating apps have changed everything. But one factor I don't think people talk about enough is kind of the timing and the relationship it has in all this. Because timing is one variable you can't force, and it has never lost. You can't convince someone they're ready for a relationship. You can't fast forward somebody's healing. You can't put pause on your own life while you wait for someone else to catch up, and vice versa. Timing has never lost, and I actually find that strangely comforting. Because if you've ever been rejected, ghosted, or watched something promising disappear, maybe it wasn't because you weren't enough. Maybe the timing just wasn't right. I want to tell you a few stories that completely changed the way I look at dating, and it helped me acknowledge the role that timing plays, which actually made my dating experiences that much better. A few years ago, I was absolutely rinsing Hinge. Like most blokes, I felt like it was my role as the male, that I was doing the initiating, asking people out, organising dates, and along the way, copping my fair share of ghostings and rejections and last-minute cancellations. But one girl kind of stood out. We matched, started chatting, exchanged some socials, ended up talking on Instagram, and eventually organised a brunch for some weekend. And everything seemed good. Then a couple of days before the date, the messages slowed down, then radio silence. So I checked in to see if the date was still on, and she profusely apologised. She said she'd come down with tonsillitis, and she just couldn't make it. And I thought, fair enough. I messaged her a week later to see if she wanted to reschedule. Nothing. Radio silence again. Maybe she really was sick, but maybe she lied because she wasn't interested. And honestly, it actually doesn't matter. Either way, the timing wasn't right. The funny part of this story, though, is a couple weeks later, I noticed she'd started posting with what looked like a boyfriend. Maybe it was someone new, or maybe she'd gotten back with an ex. I don't know. But it got me thinking. I never had a chance. She was too sick to catch up, or maybe she actually just wasn't interested. And to make matters even worse, there was a guy at least one position higher in the batting lineup, and it was his turn to bat. It was not my turn to bat. So the point is this. Maybe we would have been perfect for each other. We will literally never know. But because of the timing, we never even got the opportunity to find out. The timing had won. It trumped love, although I guess I didn't really love this person. But you get the idea. This next story is almost the opposite. I started casually seeing this girl not long after I'd been out of a relationship. And right from the beginning, I told her exactly where I was at. I'd just become single. I wanted to enjoy being single for a while, kind of get that confidence back. Maybe I wanted to travel. I wanted to just do things that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be in a relationship. And she said that she was on exactly the same page, which is perfect. Except after about a month, we both kind of caught feelings, and I could tell that she wanted something more. The problem was, I still didn't. Not because she wasn't amazing, not because we weren't compatible, not because we weren't having fun. I just wasn't ready. So we ended things, and I was super upfront with her the whole time, and we had no issues. Fast forward a couple months, she'd reached back out to me. She said she'd be happy keeping things casual again. My initial reaction was, nah, we can't revisit this wishing well, knowing that I still didn't want anything seriously. Nothing had changed for me. And doing the same thing over, expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. But she convinced me casual was for her, and things were different this time, I guess. And I stopped listening to my actual brain. My dick brain took over, and against my better judgment, we started seeing each other again. And what happens? Exactly the same thing, except this time it hurt her even more. That experience taught me something super important. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do isn't to chase the timing, it's just to respect the timing, because you can't love someone into wanting the same future as you. Now, I don't want this video to sound depressing, because timing doesn't just ruin relationships. And I know a lot of you are probably agreeing with me here, going that timing has ruined a heap for me. But sometimes it's actually the reason that they can happen. And I'd argue that every relationship starts with a fortunate piece of timing. And sometimes it's unfortunate that it ends, but it's always a relationship with timing in relationships. So I met this girl through a mutual friend, and we exchanged socials, started chatting, and I'm not the one to message for months over socials. So I asked her out, and I was instantly turned down. She'd recently become single. That timing just wasn't right for her. But I didn't burn any bridges, and we would sporadically message each other every now and then. We was vaguely in contact. But a few months go past, and she messaged me, asking if that offer for a date was still on the table. And it was, right? The timing had lined up. We went on a few dates, things were going really well, and maybe some feelings coming in. And then she went traveling. She had gone to Europe. Again, wrong timing. Wouldn't have been appropriate for either of us to start a relationship. But she comes back. We start seeing each other again. Those feelings started coming back, but I couldn't commit to anything. I was going traveling, right? I didn't want to get into a relationship. I didn't want to push that envelope when I was going to go away for a couple months. Again, wrong timing. But throughout all this, we were brutally honest with each other. Nobody was making promises they couldn't keep. Nobody was pretending they wanted something they didn't. And while I was overseas, I realized I couldn't stop thinking about this girl. So when I got home, I finally admitted that I wanted something serious. And to be honest, she needed a bit of time to process it. After everything we'd gone through, and she felt like we were just destined for this funny, casual, convenience dance that we were doing. But eventually, after some deep thought on her end, the timing lined up. And we've been together for 3 years. People could tell us that we were meant to be, but I don't think that that's quite true. And I think that she would agree. I think that we were two extremely compatible people who love each other's company, who happened to be ready at exactly the same time. We were the perfect ingredient that happened to be timed to perfection. I want to make one thing really clear in this video. This isn't me telling you to wait around for years hoping somebody changes or some sort of timing changes. Don't do that. My story only worked because we were always honest about where we stood. Nobody manipulated anyone. Nobody promised maybe one day. We simply accepted that the timing wasn't right, and we acknowledged the power of timing. Until one day, it was our time. And I think that's the lesson here. Timing is cruel because it doesn't care how compatible two people are. It doesn't care how attractive you find each other or how much chemistry you have. Sometimes the right person shows up 2 inches in front of your face, and it's just the wrong chapter of your life, and there's nothing that you can do about it. But I also think that that's comforting, because not every relationship that didn't work out was a failure. Not every rejection was because you weren't enough. Sometimes the timing just wasn't right. So if you're dating, communicate where you're at. If you like someone, don't spend months wondering. Find out if that timing is right. Be prepared for rejection. Because if the answer is no, you've saved yourself months of what ifs. And if the answer is yes, maybe you've just met someone who's finally in that same chapter as you. Timing is never lost, but one day it might finally be on your side. So I hope you're all happy and enjoyed the video. I'd be curious about my thoughts on why I think chivalry kind of left us and why I think it should come back. Feel free to click that video on your screen right now. But regardless, I love you. Stay happy.